I know it's really tough to come down from an elevated event to the Mexico Open. But you know what? We got to do it anyway. The Mexico Open in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. It's live. We're talking about it here in 30 seconds. And a very good evening, everybody, and welcome to Fairway to Heaven right here on the STT Sports Network. Please, wherever you're watching, YouTube or Twitter, please smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. The race to 500 subscribers is on as we continue to march through this PGA season, picking winners every single week right here, building, well, not so great lineups, but picking winners for sure. But make sure you smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel, and joining me as always, my main man, Jason Sullivan. Unfortunately, no Steven Fuentes today. Unfortunately, Steven's a little busy with a power outage out there. So that's okay. We'll get through this really stacked event this week down in Mexico without him, and he'll be back next week, hopefully. Jason, good evening. How are you, my man?
Good, buddy. We should have done a field trip, a staff field trip to Mexico through this week. It's like 13 degrees where you are. It's 9 where I am. Like, we should have went to Mexico this week.
I think going to Mexico would have been a great, great, great idea this week. They are in Puerto Vallarta. I don't even understand it. It used to be Vidante Vallarta. Now it's VidantaWorld. I don't even know.
Rebranding.
Is that what it is? They're rebranding.
Yeah, that's what they did, really.
Okay, gotcha. Well, before we get into it, we do got to address Adam's initial comment here. Big winner, that's right. Last week's elevated event, Genesis Invitational. It was everything that you would expect from the Invitational at Genesis, just at a different course. Everything you expect from Torrey Pines. Ludvig Aberg was the obvious pick to win. I bet the obvious pick. And it worked. How often, Jay, like you've been doing this a long time, how often does the obvious choice actually win?
The problem is I didn't think it was obvious. You did. You were all over it. I
loved it.
That was the first name that you said. I didn't think it was obvious to me. I mean, but yeah, it doesn't happen all that often where the obvious guy wins.
Obviously, it's a tough one, which is weird because this week I think there's we'll get into this week's field in a second, but I kind of feel like that there's an obvious pick this week, but I don't think the obvious pick can win back-to-back weeks.
Okay, I kind of think that too, so I'm interested to see.
I'm interested to see how that goes and all. But obviously, it was a great event. Ludvig Aberg, was lights out throughout the fourth round. He had a little hiccup there in the fourth round, but the course played super difficult as you would want an elevated event. And I think the one question I want to discuss from last week, and yes, obviously, I see your comment, Mitchie Poo. I'm sure Jason will love that. I know there's a Michigan State game on. He's itching to get to watch after this show. How did you do, Jason? Adam wants to know.
I had a god-awful week. I had my worst week of the season. It was terrible. I made $9 of my money back, which I was shocked that it was even that much.
Yeah.
That put my week into perspective.
Yeah, it wasn't a pretty week on DFS. I mean, we basically talked all last week how it was a cut event, but basically nobody was going to get cut. And then I think there was almost 20 guys that ended up getting cut. And my other favorite DFS play, Højgaard, Rasmus, was like 14 over through 2 rounds. So, yeah, it was not a pretty week for DFS. I think I had 6 of the 12 people in my lineups that didn't make the cut. So,
I just think
it was a rough DFS week.
That kind of tournament, I think, is so much more fun, though. Like, I mean, I think we both agree on it. Like, birdie fests are not that enjoyable. I think it's like, absolutely. I'd much rather see like a 10 to 12 under event somewhere around there, like where like if you shoot a bad shot, you're going to shoot a huge number on that hole.
Something I was bringing up on Twitter. I have 2 things I want to bring up that I brought up on the Fairway to Heaven Twitter page. And guys, make sure you're following Fairway, the number 2 Heaven _ for all our golf picks throughout the week and golf content. There's something that I want to bring up, and it's if you look at in the 4 years plus we've been doing this, got like 22, 23 outright hits. Not a great number, not an awful number, better than break even. But if you go down tournament by tournament, my outright hits, like 70% of them are at these type of events, grinder events. I've got 3 Farmers Insurances at Torrey Pines. I've got obviously the new Genesis at Torrey Pines. Like there's something about grinder courses compared to this week at the Genesis that I just have a lot easier time picking. And I'm not sure why that is.
It's weird too, because I don't know, like if you've been kind of like following it along, but like you seem to hit your outrights, like a bulk of your outrights at the beginning of the year. And
Right.
whereas I hit a bulk of mine in like the dog days of like the Rocket Mortgage and like the 3M,
Right.
those crappy tournaments in July and August, like that's where I always get hot, which is weird. It's just strange how that works for us.
Sorry, pizza shop issues on the phone right there. Had to settle a pizza shop text right there real quick. Yeah, I don't know what it is about early season and grinding events. Like I'm sitting here looking at this week's event, the Mexico Open, and I'm all over the place. When I normally have like 7 or 8 guys I like to bet, and I whittle it down to like 5 names. I wrote down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I wrote down 16 names to potentially bet this week. I mean, I whittled it down to 6, but I was all over the place on where I was going to go. You know what I mean? Because I just went when it's a birdie fest. And then this week, the Mexico Open, we've got one guy in the top 50 of the world golf rankings. Like there's about 25, 40 names I've never heard of that are in this event.
Who is that guy? Who is that guy that's in the top ranked golfer in the field?
Who is it?
It's your boy, Aaron Rye.
Oh, Pataya is up there too, right?
Yeah, but Rye is the highest ranked golfer in the field.
Rye is the highest. Yeah, because Maverick McNeely withdrew after his collapse. I really enjoyed seeing the collapse. I want to bring up one other thing that I brought up on Twitter. And I know he had one of his worst putting events like in a decade. But a name we've talked about a lot over the last couple of years is Rory McIlroy, and whether he'll win a major or not again, whether he'll get back to winning or not. He was kind of in contention, kind of not really in contention all last week. But after watching his 2 events this year, because he won the AT&T he won, right?
Yep.
And then being somewhat there this past week, I am more convinced than ever that Rory McIlroy is going to win a major this year. Do you think I'm crazy?
No, I agree with you. I don't know. I don't think it's Augusta. I saw your tweet the other day about thinking it's Augusta. I don't think it's going to be Augusta.
Okay.
But I do think, I don't know. I could see a major this year, and I think it's going to be one over here too. I don't think it's going to be the Open.
Yeah.
So.
I just think that his game is just, I think since he's taken a back seat from the leadership of the PGA Tour to an extent, since he's kind of stopped trying to force events, onto his schedule, I kind of feel like, I don't want to say his smile's back, but his drive might be a little bit more back. And yeah, you don't think it's Augusta. I think it's Augusta. It's a course that he just seems so right with his distance to be able to play Augusta and win at Augusta. Whether it's Augusta, whether it's I haven't really looked at the U.S. Open course yet this year or the PGA Championship course this year. I just feel like his game is the best I've seen in the last 3 or 4 years.
And he's taking so much crap lately. I don't know if you've been like following along on Twitter, but like he takes so much crap for talking out of both sides of his mouth. My question to everybody that is always on Rory's case is like, what do you want him to say? Yeah. Like he said that last year. I think it was he actually said it on Full Swing, right? Like I feel like I was a sacrificial lamb. Like he was with the whole live thing. And now
I kind of feel like that hurt his game.
He's still right in between though. It's like, what do you want him to say in these situations? He's constantly the only guy that's asked these questions. And I don't think he knows what to say because I don't think he knows what's going to happen. Like, I mean, clearly the leadership of the PGA is crap. We know this. Like the merger that was supposed to be a year and a half ago still hasn't happened. So who knows? I mean, like
I was brought onto a podcast a couple of weeks ago to talk golf, like general golf topics. And the golf host brought up the merger. I'm like, what do you want me to talk about the merger? I'm like, that was 2 years ago and it still hasn't happened. It's like, what do you expect? And, the live conversation is something that's just never going to go away. But I also feel like live is never going to go away. So I kind of feel like golf in general, whether they got to negotiate or figure out how to get live golfers to play at least somewhat on the PGA Tour, whatever, just stop talking about it. Just let golf go about its business and let the golfers go about their business.
Well, and Rory's just giving so much crap for all this. It's like he's in the same situation as everybody else, I think. He doesn't know anything. So it's like he ends up saying comments that sound like he's talking out of both sides of his mouth, but he doesn't know.
It's not like you're asking those questions as Scottie Scheffler, the world number 1, who's supposed to be the best golfer in the world.
Right.
You're not asking Xander Schauffele or Justin Thomas those questions. So I don't know what they're doing. I think Jason just froze up
I'm
there.
back.
Oh, you're back.
I don't know who I want to give someone credit for this, but I can't remember who tweeted this. But somebody said today that TGL is kind of like the gimmicky golf league that Liv wanted to be. Like they've dominated it. It's a way better product than Liv, which is hilarious because they have like, the money's not even the same thing, but like it's just it's exactly what for a gimmicky golf league, TGL is winning that race.
Yeah. Which is funny because everyone's hyping up TGL right now. And I watched the first week, hated the first week. I haven't gone back, but now everybody's talking about how great the TGL is.
I haven't watched, to be honest with you. I've watched like bits and pieces, but I haven't really got.
I've seen the online highlights. It was a one-hit wonder to me, and it failed on the one-hit wonder. Like you need Bryson DeChambeau, or Brooks at the TGL.
Even like Phil, like just a personality.
Yeah,
like,
you need personality. It's to increase the knowledge and reach of the game.
Yep.
And you got the most boring golfers in the world out there. Mm-hmm. That's just at least my opinion. Anyway, let's get to the Mexico Open, VidantaWorld. Instead of Vidante Vallarta, it's VidantaWorld because it rebranded. Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. That's on the Gulf Coast. Resort course, Gulf Coast course, or coastal course, as you say. The fourth year of this event, so it's had 3 previous things. So we now know a little bit. We've kind of got a little bit of knowledge of what to expect here. Obviously, being on a coast, it's going to have wind conditions potentially. Always could creep up out of nowhere. What do you know about VidantaWorld, and what are your key things that you're looking at golfer-wise? Because let me tell you something. There's going to be a lot of darts thrown at the board this week. Just
a bomber's paradise. I mean, there's little to no trouble. I heard that they're going to grow the rough out to 2.5 inches, which who knows if that's actually true or not. But 7,456 yards. I mean, it's a long course. Par 71, past Palin greens, which you don't see a lot anymore on tour. So that's interesting for sure. 55 bunkers, tons of water on the course. So I don't know. One of my favorite plays this week is usually a guy I never would play on a course with water, but I will get to that later. But there's a lot of water hazards on this course.
So something that I saw, and again, just like you, I kind of forget who I read this. I got to start taking notes on where I read these stats from. But I saw a stat this week when I was doing my research, and where did I write it down? Oh, shoot. I think it's 8. There it is. 8 of the top 12 people on the leaderboard last year at this event were going into the week a premium driver for the season and premium from the proximity 200 outright. Top 40, top 35. I just wrote down 8. Oh, it does say 40 there. So they were top 40 driving distance and proximity 200 plus going into the week. 8 of the top 12 finishers last year finished in that thing leading into it. So it's a long course. You need to be able to hit the ball far.
And nobody's ever won this golf tournament. Well, it's only been 3 years so far, but none of the 3 winners have ever won being below the top 11 places in off the tee. So
okay, there you go. So again,
bummers.
Off the tee, the driving is so important, but it's also going to be a birdie fest, right?
Yeah.
So obviously birdies matter. Scoring on the par 5s, the par 3s matter. Something that I've been tweaking a little bit in my mindset. I still don't value putting when I'm doing my models, but what's something that I kind of feel like goes undervalued in Birdie Fest is putting. To make birdies, you got to make putts, right? And you look at, I started thinking about it on Sunday when Maverick McNeely was like 8 under through like 10 holes in his final round and charging up the leaderboard. And I think when he got through his 12th hole, he had like 14 putts on the round.
Yeah.
And I'm like, to make birdies, you got to make putts. So when we're at Birdie Fest, I'm kind of starting to think that I kind of got to value putting a little bit more than I normally do because that's you get on the green in 2, you got to make your putt, right?
I think so, yeah. I think you got to kind of look at it both ways, though. I think on courses like this where it's so easy to putt, that almost takes away an advantage of a guy that's a good putter. And then vice versa. Like when it's such a course where like putting is so tough, it obviously puts more emphasis on putting. Like where you can see like a course like last week where a putter like Denny can get hot, and Mav too is the same way. Mav's a really good putter too. It's like you got to kind of look at it both ways. I feel like to some extent it helps a lot being the good putter, but then like a week like this, it's like, oh man, everybody's gonna putt good this week. So how much are you gonna put into it?
It's true. It's a fair point. All right, so let's look at this week's because again, you got 2 top 50 golfers. You got Patea and you got Rye. You got some junk on. I mean, you drop into even the 7K and there's names I've never heard of in the 7K. But the top on the board is Akshay Bhatia, Kurt Kitayama, and Rasmus Højgaard. Not even sure if I say that right, but I love saying Rasmus. I don't know. I just like the name Rasmus. And I kind of feel like you might be disagreeing. I was actually, as I'm saying these names, I'm thinking that we might be on different names. Akshay Bhatia seems like the obvious hit to win. Or am I wrong on that?
No, that's what it seems like to me too. I want to see what you said.
Yeah.
No, I just think like he's so much better than anybody in the 9s or the 10s. I mean, like I don't think that's really, saying anything too crazy.
No. But so the question goes then, you got 3 names in the top 10K and above. Do you play? I mean, I think the ownership right now, it's either going to move a lot by tomorrow night or because of the names, it's spread out really well. I mean, Bhatia is only just over 20% right now. There's, I think, only 2 golfers right now, the Fantasy National. Actually, right now, it just updated. Only 1 golfer projected over 20% on Fantasy National right now.
I think Akshay is going to be 30%. I think he's like 30% in the lineups that are already built on Fantasy National.
Yes.
So I could see him like 25 to 30 for sure.
But even that, if you go by the actual lineups built already, he's still the only guy over 20%.
Yeah. Kitayama was an interesting one to me too. Are we? I don't know. I know that this field, you have to take it with a grain of salt, but like this field, are we sure that Kitayama is capable of winning a golf tournament right now? He hasn't been that great this year.
Kitayama finished number 1, which is weird because Akshay finished 73rd in my model this week because I put so much weight into driving distance and par 5s and stuff like that. And he's not he's a good distance hitter, but he's not a long hitter. Kurt Kitayama, on the other hand, the next guy down, finished number 1 in my model. And I would have more confidence playing Bhatia over Kitayama by a large margin.
Kitayama's a model darling, though. He's been like top 3 in my model for like 4 of the past 5 tournaments he's played in. So I think it's misleading because he is so good with the approach and like he does fit these buckets really well. So I don't know, but I just think like the visual test, like Akshay's a way better golfer.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like I will start a bunch of my lineups with Bhatia. I don't know if I'm going to go 20, 25 lineups this week because then that would mean I would have to really dig deep in this bottom barrel here. But I kind of feel like looking at this board, and you can throw the 9K in and the upper 9K, Sam Stevens at 9,900. It's like insane. Steven Yeager, 9,800. Patrick Rogers, is he due for a letdown? Obviously, my guy Aaron Rye, Harry Hall. Harry Hall's in the 9K. That's crazy to me. Like, I almost feel like you could put Bhatia in every lineup to an extent and then just dip into a lot of randomness in the low 8 and 7K range.
Well, and the pricing is so soft. I mean, like, you could easily fit Bhatia and Kitayama or Bhatia and, Rasmus or Yeager or one of those guys. Like, you could fit 2 of them easily in the lineup.
You absolutely can. And when we do lineups, we could talk about that. Like, I kind of feel like I didn't write down. So I got my potential player pool written down here. I got Bhatia, and then the next name I got as a maybe is Stevens. Like, I've just dropped right from Bhatia 10-7 right down to 9,800 at Stevens this week.
Little tidbit about Stevens. Stevens and Patrick Rogers, this will be their 7th week playing in a row, both of them.
Wow.
That's
huge information because that's a lot. And I kind of feel like Patrick Rogers, more than Stevens, could have a bit of a letdown this week.
Yeah, I don't like going to guys that were in contention the week before that don't win. Like Scottie, whatever. Some of these guys, it's like if they finish third, it means nothing. Ludvig is another one. But like a guy like Rogers who doesn't win, like him being in contention, that takes a lot out of you. So yeah,
I agree.
I'm off on him.
Agree. So basically, what I've been doing, I've been trying to target golfers that are top 40 in that proximity 200 bucket and top 40 in the driving distance, and I've just been zoning in on those guys and trying to figure out a way to break the system to crack it. And I just feel like there's too much unknown in this top portion.
I hate weeks like this where it's like you're gonna play. Okay, Bhatia, I think we can agree is the best play on the board. But then once you get past that, it's like, who do you feel confident starting your lineup with?
Like take Aaron Rye for I'm a Rye guy, right? 2 gloves Rye. But he's 50th in my model. He's not the longest hitter, which means he's not great from that proximity. He's an average putter. He's a great tee to green and approach player, but not on long courses.
Well, it's tricky.
But at least Bhatia's got a win under his belt in the last 12 months.
Right. But, I mean, Rye was right there. He won a tournament last summer, didn't he, Rye?
Who?
Aaron Rye?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Aaron Rye.
Yeah. Like, I mean, he's good on easy courses, which is one thing. But, like you said, like, he's not a good fit for this course at all. No. He really isn't.
And I kind of bet Rye over Bhatia this week because Rye's got that win. But, I bet Rye more because I got a great, like the fact that with a 10% boost, I got Aaron Rye at almost 40 to 1 in this field.
Right.
I'm like, I almost went betting wise this week on numbers that stuck out as that's like we always talk about. Do they get the DraftKings price right or wrong? I went betting wise this week. Like, did they get that number wrong on that player?
I think that's a smart thing to do too. Like, we don't really talk about like how we get to our numbers a lot on bets, but I think
Right.
sometimes there's just a guy that you look at the numbers and you're like, wow, that seems like, that's too long for that guy, or oh, that's too short for that guy. It's like sometimes just like the eye test of like where the market is, I think is a good way to do your bets.
And that's exactly where I went. I went with him 30. It's 39-1 is what I got on Aaron Rye. It's insane. Like, he shouldn't be that big of a number considering in this field there's, we always talk about the word win equity. There's only so many guys that can actually win this event. And, that's what I mean. I know Jake Knapp was a long shot win last year, and second place was what's his name? Sammy, how do you say his last name? Vadamakia?
Yeah.
Whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Sammy boy.
Sammy.
They were unknowns at the point. Vamaki, whatever. Anyway, a long shot can win this event because before that it was John Rahm and who was the other one? Tony Finau won this event. So there have been 2 of the 3 events played here have been won by the top of the board.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to look at the top of the board as the better. The Jake Knapp isn't going to win this event most years. It's going to be the Batea, the Rye, Alex Smalley, who's getting a lot of hype and has a good number on him. That's who's going to win this event, right?
Yeah, you would think so.
All right, so in the rest of the 9K, any of these names stand out? Rye, Hall, Michael Kim, Taylor Moore, any of those names stand out to you?
2 names stand out in this range for me. Jaeger, just the elite course history. I mean, I think he has 3 top 16s here at this course. And then Taylor Moore seems like, obviously, field dependent, but like in this field, seems like he's too good to be priced at 9K. Like, if you're just looking at flat out talent, Taylor Moore is better than a lot of guys that are in front of him. So
I'm gonna say I will agree more on Jaeger than Moore. Jaeger's got the course history. Moore seems like he has the good course fit, but only played here once and didn't play well. So It's kind of one of those things. I'm looking at course history a lot this week when I'm playing, just because there's so many unknowns. You've got to now. You're gonna miss, in my opinion, if you do 20 names, 10 of them say are below 7,500. Half of those 10 names are going to miss the cut, probably, if not more. You know what I mean? There's a chance you have a lot of risk reward this week. So you've got to nail your top half of the board 100%.
Taylor Moore, for me, was more of like a course fit. Plus, his recent form's been really good. I mean, T9 at the Waste Management, T22 at the Pebble Beach, T7 at the Amex. Like, he's been playing some good golf. So.
No, I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that at all, or a lot. Then you go down to the 8K range, and you got Alex Smalley, who's getting a lot of love from all the touts, all the pundits out there, but he's missed the cut here twice in the last 2 years. I mean, he fits the course. He models out great this week, 4th in my model. Hits the ball a ton, for this field, but he doesn't rate well. You know what I mean? Like 45-1. Sure, I love to bet that, but I kind of feel like you go down that 8K board. Jake Knapp, defending champion. Justin Lauer, I kind of feel like could be a good play. Grayson Sigg, Ryan Fox. I kind of feel there's some flexibility in the 8K range as well.
There is, and I think there is, especially because I think everybody's on the same people. I mean, like you named them right there, Smalley and Knapp, I think are going to be the 2 highest owned, and then at the bottom you're going to see CT Pan and Grayson Sigg be highly owned. It's like it's hard to find a guy that stands out in this range that isn't going to be on everybody's radar.
Someone like Justin Lauer, 8,500 right now, projected at 8%, might get up to like 12 or 13%. Doesn't drive the ball really well or really far, but he scores great on par 5, scored great par 3s, makes a ton of birdies in relative to the field. Fantastic putter. That's a name that I'm looking at that I kind of feel like, finished here 3rd last year, didn't miss the cut the other time he played here. So 2 made cuts here in 3 years. It's a name that I keep zoning. And he almost was a name that I almost landed on the bet as well.
I like that too. So did I, actually, to be honest with you. And I like guys like that in this range. Like, he's a guy that you could easily see top 5. He could miss the cut, but you can see like there's not that many guys in this range that you could see spike and actually contend. And I think he's one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it just going from the 8K range up, if you pick 2 or 3 names, like where are you going to go? Are you going to ignore ownership percentage? Because I kind of feel like to an extent you might have to ignore the ownership percentage up top and take the chances down below.
It just scares me. And certain guys, like you see Alex Smalley at 19%. Like that scares me a little bit. Like I know that
it really does.
I know that he fits his course. You know, he's the stat model darling. He sixth here once, but like 2 missed cuts in a row here. Like, and we're talking Alex Smalley. We're not talking like, you know,
right.
a substantial good golfer. Like, so it makes me a little nervous. I feel like I don't know how you avoid this range. Like, I mean, I think everybody's on the same guys, but I feel like you have to play Knapp. Feel like Lauer's a good play. Sig seems like a really good play.
I also kind of feel like Jake Knapp's been playing really good golf lately too.
He's a big boy golfer. I think we've seen him in like these bigger tournaments now, and he hasn't done particularly great. But I feel like there's something that can be said for like playing in these, you know, signature events and coming back and gaining confidence after him.
We got to count. I had to double check because he wasn't on my board, so I was double checking. Eric Cole has a nice first name. Why isn't he getting any love? Because he's not in the field, Eric. Okay, and I appreciate you, Eric. The gatekeeper is here. So appreciate you being here. But yeah, there's no Eric Cole love because Eric Cole ain't in the field, my man. You know. Anyway, down into the 7K because again, I think this is where you can make some room, make some moves in the 7K range. We're firing through this quickly here tonight. Mac Meisner, a name we've talked about a lot this year. I know Thorbson is getting a lot of love. Charlie Greengloves, Hoffman is in this range. He's getting a lot of love. Eric Van Rooyen's a name that I kept zoning in on, and I'm pulling up his information here real quick.
That was my I don't like to play a guy on courses that have a lot of water. That was him.
Eric Van Rooyen?
Yeah, because he likes to put it right in the middle of the water a lot.
Yeah, well, you know, then why? I mean, he finished 8th here last year, 33rd the year before. So he's got good course history. Right now, his ownership projection is between 11 and 13%. He's like one
of the few guys in this range that I think could win.
Yeah. He's 10th in driving distance, 9th in that 200-plus proximity. And the only 3 things he's green on my model in is driving distance, proximity, and putting. 3 things you need to do.
The most important 3 things.
3 most important things on this course. So I got Eric Van Rooyen at 65 to 1. I didn't think that number stood out like was crazy, but I kind of feel like it was a worthy shot in the dark.
He was probably my last guy out as a bet, but I almost bet him too. So
yeah. So where are you looking at then in this range?
I like Matt Wallace at the top. I think courses like this, he's a guy that can win too. I think he won at Corrales, if I'm not mistaken. So I like him a lot. This range is a little sticky too for me. It's like I think everybody's going to be on the same people. Carson Young has really good course history. I like him a lot. Ryan Gerard, I like him a lot too, but I feel like everybody's going to like them. So getting a little sneaky in this range, I think, is going to be the ideal way to go.
I hear a lot of people talking about the other Svensson, Jesper. I didn't even know there was a Svensson brother till like 3 weeks ago. But I'm looking at his numbers, and I'm not really sure why everybody's on him.
You know who loves him?
The Waste Management, couple missed cuts before that, 10th at the Sony. You know, like what was with
that's why people love him. 10th at the Sony. That's why.
So what explain that though.
On a course that didn't fit him very well, he's a guy that sprays it a little bit, and so for him to be 10th there, I think was huge.
Because I do my models off the last 36 rounds normally.
Yep.
And Jesper only has 23 rounds. So it's not like he's got loads of experience. But in his last 23 rounds, he's 3rd in birdies made.
Birdie percentage likes Jesper? Our buddy Steve. Our buddy Steve likes Jesper.
Yeah, Steve likes Jesper. Yeah, exactly. Why can't I pick? Did Justin Sue not even make the Mexico Open?
I'm not sure. He might be on Corn Ferry.
He might not even be on the PGA Tour. I'm Googling. So, yep, Justin Sue is not in the field. If you do not get into this field, hold on a second. Just so you know, Podrick Harrington's in this field. Aaron Badley is in this field. Let's give out.
He's on the Corn Ferry.
I'm trying to read some of these names.
Justin Sue is on the Corn Ferry Tour.
Matthew Watkins, he has 0 rounds on the PGA Tour. Eric Fortiedge has 0 rounds on the tour. Jesse Dromer has 6 rounds on tour. I don't know who any of these guys are. Cristobal Del Solar has 17 rounds. Kevin Velo. These are the names that made it over Justin Sue this week, Kyle. Just so you know.
He's on Corn Ferry for confirmed.
Yeah, Corn Ferry. And he's not even probably winning on the Corn
He finished 68 in his last Corn Ferry Tour event.
Oh, man.
Not great.
That's not good.
No.
It's discrimination.
I agree.
No offense, Kyle. It's probably Trump's fault, right?
I think he's American, though. So I don't think it's...
yeah, who knows? Who knows?
He is indeed American.
Oh, man. Anyway, so outside of that, so we mentioned Matt Wallace and Jesper Svensson. How about the bottom half of this range? Because I know there's a couple names that I hear a lot of people talking about, and you bet a couple of these guys down here.
Yeah, I bet Ventura. I like Springer a lot. Oh, he's in the 6Ks. Okay, skip that one. I like Lanto Griffin a lot this week, and I like Matty Schmidt a lot this week also.
Okay.
Lanto, I like Lanto just as a human. So I want to play him when I can play him, but I've been scared off by him for a long time. But I think he's kind of rounding back into form a little bit.
Yeah, we talked about him a few weeks ago, that how he's finally healthy, Lanto. So I do like Lanto a lot this week. Played here all 3 years, never missed a cut at a top 15 a couple of years ago here. So that's always a positive thing, having something. There's a name down here, and I don't know why. Aldrich, I don't even know how to say his last name. Potgeiter, is that how you say it?
Potgetter, yeah.
Potgetter? Everybody seems to be talking about him, and I'm not sure why.
Bomber.
And that's it, right?
He bombs it, yeah. First off the tee in driving distance, 16th in proximity, so he's a long player.
Yeah. I mean, he's 124th shots gained total. He's 126th in approach, 118th in tee to green, 96 par fives, 88th in par threes, 117th birdies or better, but he's the top driver of the golf ball. So, like, what do you like and what do you don't like this week? I mean, even though I said 8 of the top 12 finishers last year were top 40 in driving in that proximity bucket, you also have to draw a line somewhere, right?
Yeah, for sure. I like I know that his name's pronounced weird. It's like Ricky Castillo or something. It's like
Ricky Castillo.
Syllable. It's not Castillo. It's not Castillo. It's Castillo, I think.
Okay.
That's how you pronounce it. Yeah, I like him a lot this week too.
A lot of people have been, I basically for unknown names, I always go to Len Hochberg for my information. He had Ricky Castillo at 7,200 on his list. So I'm only playing Ricky Castillo because of Len.
Yeah. Castillo.
Even Stu likes well, I'm just gonna call him Castillo. Even though that's not how you say his name, I'm gonna say it, just that way, because it just makes more sense saying Castillo.
Stewie likes him, you should like him too.
Yeah. If Stewie and if Len like him, I like him. That's all that matters to me. Because they're all much smarter than I am. Then you talk about bombers, you also got Toasty down here.
Toasty pops.
He pops because he drives the ball a ton.
Right. 10th here 2 years ago. So
yeah, absolutely. Some other names down here, maybe I'll throw them. Yeah, just say yay or nay. Joe Highsmith. Trey Mullinex is a name I've seen a few people mention.
Joe Highsmith is a model guy, another model darling.
Yeah. I mean, you got it. We always say you take the model with a grain of salt, but you also have to trust it sometimes too, right? If you trust your research, you got to trust your model.
Especially at the bottom of the board in a field like this. I feel like if guys are going to pop in a couple certain areas, then that's a good thing.
I agree with you. 100%. All right, into that 6K range where we got names. You know what's funny? I'm just paging through it, and I just reminded myself of this. He didn't pop in my model, so to speak, but he's a guy that's been on tour. He's kind of like a fan darling. Like, is he really that bad that Joel Damon is in the 6K range?
I wish he was good at golf, but he's just
I want him to be good. Is he really that bad?
Well, he's on full swing again, which is hilarious because it's like we didn't get enough of him the first 2 times. We need to do it a third time.
Like, there's guys that have won in the 6K. Luke List won the Farmers Insurance a few years ago. He's in the 6K range.
Well, and then there's guys like your boy Valimaki and Springer just seem like they're underpriced. Like,
Valimaki's not my guy. I just mentioned him because he's finished second here last year.
Those 2 guys, like him and Springer, they're actually like good golfers. They feel like they should not be in the 6Ks to me.
Like, I kind of feel like DraftKings really screwed up a lot all over. Don't forget about Victor Perez. Where's Victor Perez on the board?
Victor Perez.
What's that?
I usually play Victor Perez in like bigger tournaments like the Open.
Yeah, 7,300, 47th in my model. 30th on approach, 15th best putter in the field, 29th scoring on par fives. Yeah, let's click a star. If Stewie likes him, I'm starring him. I'm putting him to my maybe list right there. There we go. We'll add a new name there. We talked about Alex Smalley a few minutes ago. Alex Smalley, we just don't know. Like, I bet Alex Smalley 45-1. I just don't know if his ownership percentage is worth it. I think he should have been cheaper almost.
Yeah, but this field is so bad. It's hard.
And it really is. Is Michael Jordan a better golfer than he was a baseball player? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Baseball player, not basketball player, baseball player.
Right.
All right, 6K range. I'll just fire off names if you don't got any. Ben Coles.
More talented than everybody else in this range.
And you mentioned Valimaki. I mean, he finished second here last year. I mean, Really doesn't do a whole heck of a lot great, honestly.
No.
But course history, maybe.
Everybody's on Will Gordon in this range, seems like.
Okay. He's not in my board in this range. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4 names written down as maybe plays in my DFS lineup. I got Coles. I got Valimaki. I got I don't want to get into it in a second. Why? Because I think it's crazy. And this is on that model conversation. But I wrote down Padraig Harrington because he's made a couple cuts on the senior tour. Why not? My buddy in college was a huge Patty Hammer fan because he was an Irish dude and he just loved Padraig Harrington back in the day. So I just love that. It's kind of like my Sean O'Hare love.
Yeah.
It's Padraig Harrington love too.
I love this guy. It's like my Stuart Sink. Like, I love this guy. I don't know why, but I love him.
Left a lot of salary on the table this week. I haven't built a single lineup yet, which is really rare at this point of the week for me. But I could see that. I could totally see that happen in this week.
I say either that or you can avoid the 6Ks altogether this week too.
You could. You really could. So this name popped in my model, but then I clicked on him and it made no sense. So hold on a second. I want to double check his ownership's right around 4%. Let me see his course history here real quick. Never played here, but finished 9th in my model, and that's Nick Hardy. And he was like 200 to 1, or no, 180 to 1. So I bet him because he finished in the top 10 of my model. He's terrible, though. He's missed 1, 2, 3, 6 straight cuts he's missed.
He's a bomber.
How can you miss 6 straight cuts? 7 of your last 8 cuts. Your last real decent finish was whatever the Black Desert was in February or October 13th.
I was going to say that was in the fall. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fall swing event. And he finished 8th there. But he's missed 7 of his last 8 cuts. Yet he's in the top 10 of my model.
Not good.
No. But when you finish top 10 of the model, there's a reason, right?
Yeah. Either that or your model's not good. One of the two.
Well, thank you very much for that.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I get it. Because, I do my model. According to my model, he's 15th in the field in approach, 20th tee to green, 33rd driving distance, 14th on par 5s, 35th on par 3s, and 2nd on the proximity.
Sign him up.
That's pretty good, right? Thank you very much, Stewie. We appreciate it. We appreciate you, Stewie. You are the man. Nobody more awesome in the social media and the Twitter world than you are.
Nice guy. All around.
Yeah, one of the best.
Yep.
Any names that I didn't mention there that you like?
No, I think I'm good. You want to pick some lineups?
Let's build some lineups. Just real quick, I want to mention my bet. So I did bet Aaron Rye 39 to 1. Harry Hall I bet 31 to 1. Smalley 45 to 1. EVR 65 to 1. Nick Hardy 180 to 1, and Valimaki to get his redemption at 200 to 1. They were my bets this week.
Okay, I have Bhatia 16 to 1, Taylor Moore 25 to 1, Grayson Sig 50 to 1, Ryan Gerard at 70 to 1, Chris Ventura at 80 to 1, and Matty Schmid at 90 to 1.
Yeah, all those names were every single one of those names. Like literally, I had to build like a potential player pool just for potential betting, and every single one of those names is on my list. It was kind of like, do you just throw it? Like, here's my question, and this is more on the betting side of things. It's like last week, I knew right away I am betting almost half of my budget on Ludvig Aberg, and it worked out great for me, and great. Is it almost better to skip over Bhatia, which was my philosophy, and spread my money out a little bit more evenly over a bunch of guys that to get Bhatia at 14 or 16 to 1, I would have had to put half my betting budget to get value out of that. Do you know what I'm getting at there?
Yeah, that's what I do for sure.
I think Bhatia wins, but it was either bet 6 guys and spread X amount of money out over 6 guys, or bet 3 or 4 guys and put almost all of it on Bhatia.
It kind of goes back to what you and I were talking about last week. Like last week, you were sure on who you wanted to bet on. I was having a really hard time like narrowing down last week. Like I just went back and forth 100 times of who I wanted to bet, and I feel like sometimes you can't force your betting card. I feel like if it's not there, it's not there, and I should have listened to you last week because it wasn't there for me at all. But I don't know. I feel like
I kind of feel like I threw a lot. Like I don't think the Valimaki and the Nick Hardys are even good bets. Like, but I kind of tricked. Like it was like literally throwing a dart. I could have gotten. I saw. Let me see what the numbers I saw here. On some of these names, like you mentioned, like I could have done Knapp at 45 to 1. I could have bet some of these names. Who's the other one? Lauer. I could have bet Grillo, who's had course history here. Toasty 90 to 1. Højgaard, Thorbson. Everybody was talking about. A lot of good names down here, but I kind of passed on them and just kind of threw darts.
Golf bets are like farts. If you have to force them, it's probably shit. Just remember that. That's my
I am not a rich person, so I'm not actually sure what rich people talk about when they play golf. I'm a poor person, so I'm just cussing and drinking beer when I'm playing golf. And to Eric's question earlier, I don't have a handicap because the handicap doesn't go high enough to cover what my handicap is.
Phil's handicap is mental. Sorry.
Yeah. No. I don't know if you're allowed to say that in 20.
No, I probably just got.
I think you just got canceled on social media.
This will be my last show, probably.
Yeah,
Sorry.
exactly. I mean, you're not wrong, but I don't think you could say that legally. All right, let's build some lineups. You're going first, you said, right?
Yep.
So hold on a second. Who won last week?
Oh, Stevie won. He's up 3-1-1 against us. He picked the order for this week, and he wants me to go first because I think he feels bad for me. So
he feels bad for you.
Yeah.
Good for him. All right. So then you go first.
So I'm going Akshay, number 1.
Akshay Bhatia. Gotcha.
No-brainer.
That's perfectly fine. You could do that. And I'll go Aaron Rai with my first bet. And then my second bet, I'll go. I haven't built a single lineup, so I don't even know how this is going to play out here. And I'll go Justin Lauer with my second pick. So Aaron Rai, Justin Lauer.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go Castillo.
Castillo?
No. Castillo.
No, it's just Castillo. Just leave it at Castillo, okay?
And then I'm gonna go Ryan Gerard for my second.
Ryan Gerard. Gotcha. All right. I'm gonna go Trey Mullinax. And I am going to go Ventura.
I like that.
But now I'm kind of sitting there and I'm like with Stewie, I got almost 9K left on the board with 2 picks left. And I don't have 2 more 9K guys that I like.
Wait, who are your 2 picks right there? Sorry.
Mullinax.
And
Ventura.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I'm gonna go with Jake Knapp.
Jake Knapp, okay.
And then I'm going to go down for some value. I'm going to go Carson Young.
Carson Young. That's a good one there, too. That's easy. I don't even have to, write this down because then I was already testing things here. I'm going to go Harry Hall and Grayson Sigg with my last 2 picks.
Oh, you fucker.
I do like Sigg, and I wanted to bet Sigg. He just didn't end up on my list. But that leaves 400. But I was able to get 1, 2, 4 guys in the 8 and 9K range. I didn't have to dip into the 7K or 6K range. So, I kind of feel like I built a balanced lineup and didn't really get too risky on my lineup there.
I wanted Sig to be my last pick, but I'm going to go Matt
Give me
Wallace.
$20 and I'll let you have him.
No, thank you. I'm going to go Matt Wallace as my last pick.
What, Stewie? Yuck. But yeah, we all agree on Sig, though. That's good. Yep, he definitely got canceled. Sources, yeah. Eric's going to go all over social media and cancel you for that. Who's your last pick?
Matt Wallace.
Matt Wallace. Gotcha. I kind of feel like the name Matt Wallace, he should be hosting a show on CNN or something like that.
What wasn't Matt Wallace? Wasn't that his name? The guy that was on Fox News for a while?
I have no idea. I don't watch that kind of stuff.
Me neither.
All right. Interesting week. Interesting sets of lineups. Interesting cards. Is weeks like this good or bad for the PGA Tour?
Honestly, probably bad. Because the average golf fan turns it on. Oh, what events this week? Oh, this crap field. There's not one guy that any casual fan is going to recognize in this field. So probably bad.
Yeah. No. Shoot under par on any miniature golf course. I can't do that because putting's the worst part of my game. Honestly, I'm an
we're gonna do our one and dones too.
Yeah, we're gonna do that in 1 second. I'm just trying to think that weeks like this are the perfect reason why they need to redistribute their schedule.
They do, but I think at the same time it's hard because it's like you don't want to beat these guys up every week, and they don't want to beat themselves up. They're not going to want to.
No, I get that, but I kind of feel like this is the kind of week that makes the elevated events all bunched together so difficult.
Well, and there's so many good events in the spring where it's like coming up here is going to be the Players and then the Masters. It's like there's a lot of good events coming up. It's like
and there's an elevated event mixed in there too,
this
right?
is just an easy week to take off.
It's a perfect and they almost need to. I don't even know how to explain it right. They need to do something to encourage players Jon Rahm won here a few years ago. Jon Rahm, he's Spanish, but he's lives in Arizona or whatever. There's got to be a way to attract some of these golfers. And after the way the schedule is written, I think that the schedule can be broken up differently. That's just I don't know. Maybe I should sit down one weekend like write down all the events and like kind of find a way to reschedule it. But it's great for these young guys getting a chance to play, earn like points and maybe win, maybe get a chance. But, it kind of kills the fun of the game of golf. And all they keep talking about is growing the game of golf. Maybe these kind of events are the events that you allow live golfers to play in.
Yeah.
What would happen if this week you threw Bryson DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka into the field?
Right. Viewership's going to go.
Yeah, you still only have, but like obviously they'd both be in the 11, 12K. They'd be 5-1 on this field. But all of a sudden, even if you just throw one of them into this field, throw Bryson DeChambeau and Joakim Niemann into this field. He's Spanish, isn't he?
Yep.
Throw those two guys into this field. What does it do to the viewership of this event? Right up. You know what I mean? So maybe you take the weak fields, and that's how you bring awareness to these events by bringing in some other names from outside. I don't know.
Yeah, I like that.
It sucks for gambling for sure. Lots of edges if you know where to look. I guess that's true. Makes it positive. And I kind of feel like I really zoned in on Aaron Ryan. And I think Pataya wins, but Aaron Rye, I think is the best number to bet this week, in my opinion. Awesomeness that what? I'm sorry, that went over my head. Where are we at with one and dones? I know my guy missed the cut last week.
All three of our guys missed the cut. Ironically.
Oh, okay. So no one gained any ground or lost any ground in one and done.
No cut event.
Fantastic right there. Yeah, that's what I like to see right there.
So no movement.
So where are you going to go in your one and done this week?
Steve picks first. He's going to go Jaeger. He told me earlier.
Okay, he's going Jaeger. Gotcha.
So I'm going to go Akshay is mine, and then what do you want to go?
Akshay is yours. He's going Jaeger. I'm going to go with a guy that I didn't bet that I wanted to, that now after doing this entire show, I want to throw a bet on, and that's Grayson Sigg.
Okay. It's a good pick.
Yeah, I'll go Sigg. Try to be different. Either it'll keep me at 0 points or it'll win. Gotcha. Anyway, fun week, fun show. Alex Smalley would be your one and done. Actually, that's actually a pretty smart one and done too. A week like this, you got to pick a guy that you're not going to play in majors. Basically, Grayson Sigg will never be picked in an elevated event or a major either. Smalley, I got Smalley. Stewie at. I already went off my page. I think it was 45-1 that I got Smalley. So kind of do like Smalley there too as well. Definitely a good bet. Definitely a good number for Alex Smalley at that point. Do you got anything to wrap it up with here?
No, kind of a dull week, but we'll be back.
Hey, we don't take weeks off. Well, we do take weeks off occasionally, but not for bad events. We don't take weeks off.
Not on purpose. Yeah.
Mister wants to know how we pick our bets. Is it just eye test, or do you have so we have something that we use fantasynational.com. They have a model tool. It's a tool that basically you put in the stats that you think are important each week, and you weigh them. I've got 9 stats this week. Some of them are weighted 20%. Some of them are weighted 10%. Some of them are weighted 5%. And then it spits out a model. And who finishes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in the model. And then I compare that to their odds, and that's how I pick my bets. Is there a guy that really stands out last week? Ludvig Aberg stood out to me massively at 25-1. I bet him and he won. Doesn't always mean that works out every single week. That's why you always, if you got $20 to bet, or the big betters, $2,000 to bet, you take that money and you distribute it amongst 3, 4, 5, 6 golfers in different price ranges. That's how I do it.
Mine is much more simple. Mine is probably 80% course history, 20% recent form, and then I try to find the guys that have a little bit of both, or sometimes not necessarily. Like sometimes like a guy like Matty Schmid, where he just has like one or the other, like really good recent form or really good course history. So the live app, is awesome.
I have never downloaded the app for it. I have very little memory on my phone. So I still go on the Internet Explorer browser to do it. And I probably utilize like 1% of Fantasy National's abilities. Just because I don't even know how to do a mixed condition model. Like I really don't even know how to build that. I just go basic models every single week. But I've had enough success doing it the way I do it that I don't want to switch it up anymore.
Not as much as Stewie.
Stewie's all over that, and I love it. I love it.
Yep.
Yeah, dude, missed it. Check out Fantasy National. It's not a free site, but they have some free features on it. Check them out if you sign up for it, whatever. Or you can just listen to the show and take some of the notes down that we say on this show. I think every single week but one this year, at least one of us has picked the winner, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I've had 2 outrights. You've had
2,
and Stevie had 2, right?
2, yep.
So not Stewie, Steven. Sorry, Steven. So we've all had 2 outright picks this year. So, bet a couple of each of us and you might hit every single week.
Yep.
And golf is so much better to bet than football because what do you get on a Lions minus 2.5 line?
Right.
Even money?
Yeah.
I hit the favorite, in my opinion, to win the event was 25-1 last week.
Right.
You throw $10 on that and you're sitting pretty.
Right.
And there are a lot of people that bet a lot more than $10. So
yep.
Does that break your heart when you see people betting the same guys as you at $100, $200, $500?
Sometimes you see like somebody put like $500, $1,000, and you're like, God,
someone like BK has like a $2,000 budget every week. Like, must be nice to be young and have no kids, right?
I was gonna make a joke, but I can't.
Yeah. We got him started. We unleashed him on the world. I Google and then scroll down and pick a guy that name sounds like he could be the substitute teacher. There are a lot of those this week. A lot of those names this week, Eric. For
Jake
sure. All right, we're going to wrap this show up. I know you got a Michigan State game to watch with your kid. Me, I'm going to record more shows and then keep going with my life. You try to listen to all the shows, big part of my research. And me and Jason, I know we got to wrap this up, but I kind of feel like I used to listen to too many shows. And I try to limit it. My shows are very limited. I read PJ Tout's article, I read and listen to Len Hochberg, and I listen to Rick Run Good. They're my 3 go-tos. And I used to listen to more, but I kind of toned them down because too much input is bad, right?
You got to find out who you could trust. Not all content is, oh, that hurts, Stewie. Not all.
I like Stewie more and more every day.
I think not all content is created equal, and I think that's the biggest thing. You have to know who you can trust in this industry, for sure.
Go find a quarterback and a team that actually wins to support, all right? And then you get, whatever. Josh Allen hates us, but, because he just hates golf talk. Anyway, Jason, you have a great weekend and a great week, and we'll be back next week with another great episode, hopefully bragging how we both hit somebody this week, maybe we win a GPA. And guys, if you're watching, if you've never tried Eric, missed a DFS, a DraftKings lineup, there's a link in the description for a contest. It's $3 to enter on DraftKings, and it's just us. Can you beat Jason, me, and Steven in a contest? $3, top 3 pay.
Probably.
I finished in 8th out of 8 people last week, so it goes to show how great that lineup was. But yeah, click the link and try it out. Keith Stewart, yep. The whole effing show. That's me, Phil. The whole effing show. All right, guys. Everybody have a great night. I'll be back tomorrow, trending in the AM right here, talking about Eagles talk that'll make Josh Allen happy. Everybody have a great night and bubbles up. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 pop.